Okay, what we're dealing with here is a lot of rot. This this component was in fair shape. Everybody say hello to Small, the shop dog. He's a rescue. This whole section you can see here and across here, we're pretty rotted out. We're pretty rotted out in these areas. I'm going to have to replace this, basically this whole panel. What I've done so far is a little brace that connects underneath here that is actually just connected to this part, and there's this brace and it goes all the way up. So for this section here, I ran the body saw up to here. Then I had to pick up the die grinder, little cut off wheel, and I had to cut it the rest of the way across and down. We've gone around with the grinder. I've exposed spot welds here. There's spot welds up this side here, and there's a couple over in here. I had to grind this down and get these spot welds, but I'll deal with this off of the fender itself. And I may have to go up a little higher because right there it just cut like butter. The patch panel piece, I'm going to make it big. I'm going to go long with it. That way when I get it all put together, I can cut it to fit. I can cut it to fit and have plenty of material to work with and weld this back together. Didn't really want to cut off the whole bottom of this panel, but being as it is, I didn't have a lot of choice. However, this is a lot easier to fabricate than say this. The old fenders, all this was gone. The wheelhouses were gone. It was completely shot. So my next step is I have to get a drill and drill out all my spot welds and get this outer shell off of this frame that's underneath here. And we start making patterns. Alright, bear with me. We got the big compressor in there running. Casey's filing off this Omega where we haven't yet. I want to show you this. This is that part. That's that part of the car we just cut off. Now I went ahead and drilled out my spot welds and got that component. That's that brace that just fits underneath that part on the front of the rear wheelhouse. It's right there. There's the inner brace at the rear of the fender. I drilled out those spot welds as well. Now I'm looking at this taller section here, and I cut it down at an angle while I'm looking at it right here, and it's real flimsy. The saw just jammed it out. In fact, I got a hole right there even in the rust. I'm probably gonna have to come right across level, more or less, and down. It's fine and just part of the gig. Now, it's got some compound bins and shit in it. It's best left for bead rollers and stamping equipment. I haven't got any of that. What we're going to do, we're going to roll this around like this, and then right to the edge. I'm going to spray paint that right along that lip. It's going to give me that profile. Pinching it down, I'm going to roll it up, spray paint it across there. It's going to give me pretty much all I want. What I need. Alright, it's real fucking loud, but check this out. We shot straight down at it. No angles with the aerosol can. We shot straight down on the material. It gave us all this outline. I went ahead and cut along this bottom area where this flange is. I'll notch these out. These are plug weld holes. That's a hardware hole. These are plug weld holes. I don't give a shit about those. I'll fuck with those when I get the components back together. Then we got it roughed out. This obviously is where that piece is cut. I showed you on that fender. This angle here has got to be extended up because of that rust spot that's right there on the original fender. Now, You lay this down in place. Get it lined up. Pinch it right down on that radius, on that bend. Roll it straight back on that bend. Hold it down right there. And then I took my China marker, went down, I held it down, and I traced all the way around with the China marker. That gives me that line, that line, that line. It gives me all my basic profiles. I'm not gonna go cutting notches or any of that shit till I got this bent. And all the shit there I need to take care of. We're gonna go ahead and get this bent over, and then I'll get a piece of bar, steel bar, to create this rolled edge. That should give us a fairly straight line. That's out of the ordinary. As long as I can get most of this broke to about a 90, I should be able to make that imprint as I wish. It's a pretty complex angle, compounding, all that shit there. I'm not positive the success ratio I'm going to have. It's going to be something I can bolt back to the car. Something here, outwardly, you won't know the difference. Down here, this may be a little different. We'll see. Part of a bent frame. Use whatever you've got. Let's get them out of my scrap metal bin. Piece of all thread. Scrap metal that was here when I moved to this facility. Out of my scrap metal bin. Now you see that outside face? That's nice and smooth. I got it wrapped around that all thread. Down here's a little chunky. We don't care. We got that roll on there that we wanted. We got that roll that we wanted. Bend this back down a little. We're gonna be in good shape. I'm just doing this by hand. Compared to the original, I'm gonna have fucking mallets and roll this over, put it on a beanbag, and beat that in there with a mallet, which I'll probably have to do. I got very little of the crown that way. It works. At this point, we're now looking at getting these where it bolts up to the car in place. I went in and cut the flanges off, the waste, the old shit. That way I can lay it right down on here and compare it as I go. You can see what I've used. Dead blow mallet, a dead blow ball peen. Not necessarily has to be a dead blow, but that's what I've got. A poly-headed mallet, finished carpenter's hammer, a body hammer, basic shit. I got a drill and some bits over here. bit index. I made this. There's miscellaneous mounting bracket hole. Those are my spot welds. That's that divot it had over there, and spot welds. Really at this point, I've got this area here that's extra that'll get cut and or bent over. It'll get bent over in the flange. I'm going to get it secured. I've got it cut height-wise. I've got the crown on it. Let's see what we got. Minor tweaking to do, but line up. It's snug. I got it clamped into place and tacked a few welds. I gotta grind down these areas where my pinch with those pinch welds again. I've got to clean up this side, all that nasty spray paint off of there, and at least in this area here where that brace is going to lay, I got to get some weld-proof primer. I got to treat it somehow. Up here I'll get weld-proof primer, and then I'll use a different self-etch probably down there. But that's where we're at. We're ready to go back together. That's some Rust-Con. It works okay. Not the best, but it lasts long enough. So we got some dimpling and shit like that. We'll deal with that. A lot of that'll file right off. Very minor. This is where we're at. I have a little bit of dolly work to do, but not much. I'll get you on some stitching. Bounce around a lot, this section to this section, until it's all stitched together. You don't want to go any more than, say, 3/4, maybe an inch if you got a good rub going. But any more than that, you heat it up too much, you warp the metal, you got other problems after that. That have the nut right on it for the arbor. Buy these at your welding supply store is the best place I've found. Your average big box store has them, but generally you get a better quality product and better pricing for welding supply. Anytime you're welding or grinding or anything like that, you want to be careful of heating up the localized area of steel too much. A lot of the grates are going to use TIG welders because it's very concentrated, very localized, very little warping. So they'll make it so easy and quick, and far cheaper than a TIG welder setup. If you're average hobbyist, you're not going to want to buy a TIG welder setup. When you're grinding, when you're clapper deal down, clapper disc down, you're doing the grinding on the seams and shit. Keep it moving. Do not discolor the metal. The minute you discolor the metal, you thin it, it really fucks up matters. It's a bad deal you don't want any part of. Well, here it is. That's the piece. You look at what we've got there in the old parts. I think you'll find pretty much everything was there is here now. I got some trimming to do over here. I gotta trim this a little bit. Maybe. Right there. Give it a nice rounded edge. Those are spot welds. That is that right there. Now I showed you, I hammered all this out. This is all done by mallets, hammers, miscellaneous shit you got laying around. A little bit of fiberglass, and you'll never even know this thing was here. A little bit of fiberglass and filler. The contour's right. No bad high spots. I mean, this thing is right on point. This was not a store-bought patch panel. This was store-bought flat stock I keep on hand. That line's a little weird, but after comparing it to the original one, and what you're seeing is there's a crease in the body line right here. So it's an optical illusion. This actually contours out right like how it's supposed to. Fuck yeah, there it is.